Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the podcast, That's Showbiz, with your host, Hannah Ranko. I am, if you can't tell, sick AF. And I can't hear out of my ears because I'm super congested. And then I'm wearing my headphones. I'm staying at my mom's this weekend because I have a rehearsal closer to my mom's place. And so I brought my mic here. I am sick. I'm too tired to not be laying in my bed right now. So I am recording this with my microphone on my stomach, laying in my bed, headphones on. I cannot hear myself. The audio sounds really weird, and that's okay. Because you know what? I showed up, and sometimes you show up sick, and that's okay. And this is very relevant to the topic of today. Before we get into the topic of today's episode, I just wanted to check in with you all. How is Daily Movement March going for you? I myself had huge plans for the month of March, and I am not following through on those plans as well as I had hoped for because I am sick. And so I have been improvising every day. It's only March 3rd, but for the past few days, I have been dancing every day. However, I had anticipated I would dance a little bit longer than I have been. I've only been able to do 30 minutes max because I just feel like SHIT. And you know what? That's okay. I am listening to my body. I'm still moving my body through my sickness because I think that helps, but I'm not moving past where I should be moving. Sentences are so hard today. Also, because I was sick, am sick, I went to go write this episode. I like to write scripts for the episode of what I'm going to say. I was like, no, I'm just going to wing it today. I think I'm going to freeball it. So it's going to be a little ranty. And the topic brings up a lot of passion within me. So yeah, I might say some out of pocket things. I'm just sorry in advance. Also, when I replay the audio, it sounds so muffled, and I'm sorry. I don't know if that's my hearing or the truth. Either way, we're just going to accept it and kind of go with it. So today's episode is about dancing through injuries, how dance as a culture has created this narrative that we should be dancing through injuries. But I'm here to tell you today, stop it. It's not very smart. Let's dive right into the episode. What to say about dancing through injuries? Like I said, I did start to do some research on this, and I'll include the articles that I was reading about. In the future, I probably should do a more research-based podcast episode to that, but today I'm just gonna vent. Because what inspired this rant that I'm gonna call is I was working a professional job with a dancer who was almost bragging about the fact that they were dancing through an injury. Adult dancer who works with kids bragging about how they were dancing through a serious sounding knee injury. And I was like, I don't know if that is smart. Actually, I take that back. It is not smart. And I'm not going to support this glamorization of dancing through an injury because we think it attests to your passion or your dedication for dance. Actually, it's just a little silly. And I don't think this dancer was, purposefully trying to brag. I think it's just a reflection of the dance culture we exist in. I think this culture is especially prominent nowadays in competition culture and the competition dance world. And what's unfortunate is there's a lot of young dancers who look at this and think, oh, yeah, that's how I should be treating my injuries, just dancing right through them. And so, my specific problem with older dancers or more mature dancers, professional dancers, perpetuating, is that the right perpetuating? This idea that we should be dancing through injuries is that it impacts future generations of dancers and what they think about dancing through injuries. We have to be aware as older dancers, as dance teachers, what we're teaching to kids because they are like sponges and they will just soak it all up. And it seems like my For You page understands my frustration with this topic, and it's just constantly showing me dancers who are talking about dancing through injuries. I saw TikTok the other day, and it was a dancer dancing so stunning, and the caption was like, why I danced through my injury in this video. And there was like a list, and it was like passion, love for dance, work ethic, dedication. And I just was like, no, we cannot glamorize dancing through injuries in this way, as if to say that if you take your injury seriously and you're resting your body, that you are somehow not as dedicated of a dancer as those dancing through injuries. If anything, I would argue the opposite. And I get that this is just a narrative that has been pushed throughout the dance community for a while, right? We've created a culture within dance that makes it really hard for dancers to talk about their injuries and say, I need a rest. Oftentimes it's just push, push, push. In the professional world, in the competition world, whatever it may be. And so I get where this is coming from, but I think we need to acknowledge it and be better. And I know many people know that dancing through an injury and not taking the proper care or rest is destructive. It can make the injury worse, it can delay the healing process, and it can affect the longevity of your dancing career. And I know logistically, I do believe that a lot of dancers know this, but then there's this background voice in our head saying, but you need to suck it up, you need to push through it, that's what a dancer does. And I'm here to tell you, no, you don't have to do that. Because actually, if you want to dance until you're very old, I want to dance until I'm very old. So I'm going to actually listen to my body, because actually when my body is feeling pain, it's my body's way of telling me that I need to stop what I'm doing because it's not good for me. So we need to start listening to our bodies, which is funny because that's what dance is all about, really, right? Like listening to your body. And then somehow when the body tells us, hey, stop what you're doing, we're like, oh, but not in that way. I think we need to start listening to all aspects of our body and all that our body is telling us, not just in the way that it moves through space, in the way it dances, right? But in the way that it feels pain and communicates pain to the rest of the body. And you know what? I think the larger issue is we just live in like a hustle and grind capitalist culture that's always pushing the go, 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 don't stop, which is reflective of what I was going through yesterday, calling out of work because I was sick. I was going through all of the dilemmas internally. I was saying, wow, I suck. Wow, I'm a failure. Wow, I'm being dramatic. But I actually am very sick and I have a busy week this week and maybe I should take a day off, right? But it was like this whole internal dialogue and this whole feeling guilty and feeling like a failure because I didn't want to work one day. It's like, can we chill a little bit? I'm saying that to myself. Can we chill a little bit? Like, the world's going to keep moving without me today. I can just stay at home. It's going to be okay. Everyone's going to be fine. The world's not going to end. People are going to keep living. Everything's going to keep going. The dance world will still keep pushing forward if I just take a rest day on Saturday, March 2nd, 2024. It's going to be okay. And just like sickness, that's kind of how we treat injury in dance. And it's also, I think, this very legitimate fear of uncertainty with job security. Like, if I deal with this injury, will this affect my gigs that I have or my contracts, whatever it may be? So that's a really real fear for a lot of dancers, and I understand that. But just what irks me to no end is the dancers that somehow pride themselves in dancing through injury. I just want to say, no, not today, Satan. Get away with that. It's like they'll walk into rehearsal, they'll be, yeah, I broke my foot. Well, this is hypothetical, okay, people. I broke my foot, proceeds to do like fouette turns, like in the center of the room, and everyone's like, oh, she's just so strong for dancing through. She's crazy. She's so crazy for that. Oh, that's her for you, you know. She just pushes right through. Jesus. It's like and I'm sitting there like, is no one gonna talk about how stupid that is? How actually stupid and dumb that is? And I'm sorry, I'm being a little petty, but it's just like we all know that very person. We all have a picture in our head. There's always that one person who's like, yeah, Nationals 2014, got a concussion, broke both my legs and my arms and my neck. Still went on stage for the team. They needed me. They needed me for that lift. Had to do an aerial into a calypso. Had to do it for the team, you know, but I did it and I pushed through because that's who I am as a dancer, you know? And we won platinum plus pro plus silver gold. Yeah, no big deal. It's like, okay, congrats. And I guess the biggest problem with this and dancers like this is it perpetuates and normalizes the idea of dancing through injuries. When we should not be dancing through injuries. We should be consulting a professional, hearing what they have to say, making modifications for our bodies, rehabilitating ourselves. Point blank period, you know? But for real, if you are a dance educator, be aware of how you're dealing with dance injuries in the classroom. And I do know, a little 6-year-old comes up to you, my finger fell off. I can't dance. I can't walk. I think I broke my leg. And you're like, okay. And you know, high schoolers will do this too. They say, yeah, I like tweaked my elbow. And you know, you have a hunch that they might be fibbing to get out of class. My approach is it is not my job to determine if they are faking it or not. I tell them, hey, listen to your body, do what you need, modify. But we're going to have to talk to your parents and let them know that you weren't feeling your best self. So maybe you got to get checked out, you know? And that talking to the parents, suddenly they want to be truth tellers and be like, you know, it's not that bad. But I do let them know, you know, especially with the older kids, take your injuries seriously, listen to your body. I just also make sure that they're not taking advantage of that because I know those little efforts will, you know. Another approach is to just talk with the kid, and if they're coming to you with an injury, talk through it with them. Say, when did this start? What kind of pain is it? Like things a doctor would ask. And this too helps them to be able to describe what's happening in their body, which is a really important skill. And if by the off chance they're fibbing, they're going to have a hard time answering that. And then you'll be like, well, maybe you'll be able to do some things, but modify as needed. We'll see how it goes. I'll ask you throughout class how it's going. And suddenly when you start to take it seriously, like a real injury, and if they are fibbing, I've noticed they're like, I think I'm fine. They thought you would just be like, oh, okay, sit out. Or they thought you would be like, okay, suck it up. But now you're like actually invested in the well-being of their bodies and the maintenance of their bodies. And if they are fibbing, they're like, okay, this is not worth it. And if they're telling the truth, odds are they're going to really appreciate that and be able to come with you as a teacher and come to you as a teacher and with issues they're having and be able to trust you and whatnot. And it cultivates a very great teacher-student relationship. So I recommend really letting your students know that you take injuries seriously at the start of your classes. Anyways, thank you all for listening to this podcast. It was a big ramble. It was a big rant. But in summary, in short, we need to change the way we think about dancing through injuries because dancing on an injury and not getting proper care and rest is destructive. It prolongs the healing process, can make the injury worse, and can even impact the longevity of your career. This cultural shift within the dance community starts in the classroom. Okay, so if you are a dance educator, if you are a dance professional, start teaching your kids about listening to their bodies, about taking injuries seriously, and practice what you preach and take your injuries seriously. I have attached in the show notes 2 links to the articles that I was inspired by. Please check those out because they are very, very informative. Also, please make sure you follow that Showbiz Baby. That's not the right Instagram. Showbiz Baby Pod, biz with a Z, on Instagram. And if you have any questions or concerns, email me at showbizbabypod@gmail.com, biz with a Z. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great Monday, a great week. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.